So inshallah ta'ala, we're now going to move on to the next part of the poem. This is when now the Shaykh, he starts speaking about the muftirat or the mufattirat, some of the things that invalidates one's fast. So حفظه ta'ala, he mentions وكل عين يدخل الجوف سوى إحليله مفطر على سواء كالأكل والشرب وكاستعاط وكاكتحال فامض باحتياط وهكذا الإمناء والإمذاء بسبب اللمس كذا استمناء والاستقاء واحتجام وحجامة لغيره لدى أولي الحجاء ويفسد الصوم بوطء وتجب كفارة منه إذا ما يرتكب نهار رمضان بعتق فصيا من فطعام والذي فات قضيا. The first thing that the poet rahimahullah ta'ala he talks about is وَكُلُّ عَيْنٍ يَدْخُلُ الْجَوْفَ سِوَى. Anything that enters into one's interior through the manafid, through the entrances of his body, whether this is something that is edible or unedible, whether this is something that can be digested or is something that can't be digested, anything that enters into his interior, this is now going to invalidate his fast. Whether this individual now is swallowing drugs, this individual he fasts in the month of Ramadan, but he's somebody who moves drugs from place to place. This individual now he swallows up a couple of grams of cocaine and he wants to move it from place to place, but this individual is what? Somebody who prays at the same time and also wants to observe the fast. Does that break his fast? That breaks his fast. As I mentioned earlier, he says ayn, anything that a person enters into his interior. And this is the madhab of Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala. Wadah, guys, you guys are probably looking at me. Really? Somebody who smuggles drugs is going to fast? Yeah, he might fast. Yes, he might well fast. Wallahi, I know a brother who was in charge of drug dealing in a part of London. I'm not even going to, so you don't start cancelling people out and then maybe it goes online and people start thinking, who's he speaking about? Wadah? Who runs or who was running a drug trade in a part of London. Nobody can drug deal except they come through him. You try to drug deal without his permission, it's going to be a problem. It's got a couple of houses as well. Anyways, point of the matter is, this individual, he would always pray. People started embracing Islam while they're moving from place to place. With some things in the car. Guys, wallah, I'm being serious. I'm being actually really, really serious. But anytime the salah comes, he prays. And he could have kilos of stuff in his car. That's one thing he never ever left off. And perhaps maybe that was the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided him and removed a lot of filth from his life. Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. The salah, it removes the filth and the evil of your life. Or in your life. This is why when I sometimes, even though I'm going off topic here, when I see a brother who's drug dealing, okay, recently, subhanallah, not recently, maybe over like 2 years ago, but I met the brother recently. One time I was going past some shops in my house and these brothers were standing in front of the shop smoking weed. They were buzzing. So I was like, let me just get out of the car, quickly speak to them, inshallah, I have to do a bit of khair before I go home. So I was like, guys, I'm not one of them guys who's going to stand here, and give you dawah for a whole hour, because obviously we see that a lot in Leicester, right? It's a group of people, they'll stand there. What are you guys laughing for? For a whole hour he stands there, and the brother, I remember I used to get that when I was young. I'm like, guys, I want to go play football, like leave me alone, Yeah, So point of the matter is, I was like, look guys, I'm not going to take more than 5 minutes of your time. And it's not wise as well. As a person who goes out and gives da'wah, takes 1 hour of people's time, they might be busy doing something. Even the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to choose a time to give people what? Da'wah. But sometimes, something that's not going to hurt, like a bit of, a couple of moments here and there, ma fi ishkal. Because people might have things to do. And it could be that they end up disliking the da'wah that you give to them. So I was like, guys, I'm not going to take an hour of your time, probably used to people stopping you on the road, I just want 2 minutes. They were respectful enough to listen. I said to them, guys, I'm not telling you to leave your girlfriend. I'm not telling you to leave your drugs. I'm not telling you to leave anything. I just want you to go and pray. 25 minutes of your day. Guys, is that a lot? I said to them, they were like, Wallahi, what you're saying is right, So I remember the brother, at least one brother, 25 minutes, like Allah Azza wa Jal, you've got so much time in your day, like 5 minutes. Huh? So anyways, recently when, it's like maybe a good couple of months ago, I think it was like over a year ago actually, because a lot of groups come with my dad every single season. This brother came up to me and he was like, bro, do you remember me? I'm looking at him, nah, I don't, I just thought maybe it was one of the brothers who watches online. And then he goes, remember you came up to me that day and I was buzzing. I was buzzing. I was with all my friends and you told me to go and pray. And I started praying. And this is exactly what the prayer does. Some of you guys don't know Imran. That's exactly how we started practicing as well. He was like music crazy. And then as he was praying, he began to feel very uncomfortable in the environment that he was. You see what I'm saying, my brothers, my sisters? So, how did that come about? What was I discussing? Huh? Yeah, the issue about the drugs. The issue about the drugs. Yeah, there is in fact people who might swallow, they're moving drugs from place to place and he's fasting at the same time. Based on the madhab of Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, his fasting is invalid. And likewise, anything that enters into the jawf. If your head, for example now, it opens up, okay, you have a gash in your head, an injury, and you have to now put dawa. You have to take medicine and pour it inside the gash that you have on your head. In the madhab of Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, that would also invalidate your fast. Okay? Because this is now entering into a closed off part of your body. واضح? طيب, what about some of these nutritional injections? Jubel saying, it's going to invalidate one's fast. Naam. These nutritional injections will invalidate one's fast. Why? لأنه يدخل في الأكل والشرب وما في معناهما. This is now entering into the body and is going to be reaching where? The mi'dah, right? This is now going to also be reaching one's stomach. But if individual now, he ended up having some injections in his hand, talking about the hand here, and also his thighs, and likewise also his feet, we would say that would not invalidate his fast. The reason why is that does not, or there isn't a passageway from the foot all the way to the stomach. واضح? As opposed to if an individual now he ended up having an injection somewhere around this part of the body. Okay, as long as he's sure when he has these injections that this is now going to reach the mi'dah, reach the stomach. What about these cameras that are inserted into a person's interior? They call it a flexible cystoscopy. A flexible cystoscopy. I think that's what it's called, right? Is there any medicine studiers here?
No, history.
Anybody here study medicine? Is trying to be a doctor? Anyways, I tried to look it up. It's called a flexible cystoscopy. Okay? But I think it's just better to say the camera that's inserted. On the first couple of days of Ramadan, my mom came up to me and they said they're sticking a camera into her mouth. Okay, and it's going to be going down her throat. واضح? The position in the madhab of Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala is that if this camera now is inserted into your interior, واضح? It's inserted into your interior and it goes past the throat, this now will invalidate. Some scholars, they say, if it is now covered with a lubricant or some oil is massaged on it and is entered into your mouth, then that's the only time it invalidates. But the official position is that this would now what? Invalidate. Whether it has a lubricant on it or whether it doesn't have any lubricant on it. واضح? Then he goes on to say, or he begins to mention some of the very well known invalidators of the fast. كالأكل والشرب وكاستعاطي وكاكتحال فمضي باحتياطي. First thing that he mentioned is أكل والشرب, food and drink. This is something that is known in the religion by darura, by necessity. Everybody knows it. We have the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam when he said, قال الله تبارك وتعالى يدع طعامه وشرابه وشهوته من أجلي. Allah says he leaves of his food and his drink, okay, and also his shahwa for my sake. واضح? So that is something that is very well known. Allah Azza wa Jalla said وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمْ الْخَيْطَ الْأَبْيَضِ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ. Keep eating and keep drinking until what? طلوع الفجر. طيب. Then the next point that he mentions is السعوط وكاستعاطي. What does this mean? Isti'at is, my brothers and my sisters, nose drops. Nose drops. واضح? Nose drops. Why do they say this is an invalidator? Because the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said in a hadith, أسبغ الوضوء وبالغ في الاستنشاق إلا أن تكون صائما. Be somebody who sniffs up the water at a time of making wudu properly. Go overboard with it. واضح? Except when you are fasting. What do we learn from that? That this is now an entrance which could invalidate one's fast. واضح, guys? So that's the first thing. In the madhab Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, whether it is ear drops, whether it is nose drops, whether it is eye drops, if now one receives these substances through all of these places and he can feel that substance in his throat, this is now going to what? Invalidate one's fast. I'll repeat again. In the madhab Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, if one receives a substance through the eye or through the nose or through the ears with the condition that he now tastes that substance in his throat, this is now going to invalidate it. So also Kohl. You guys know what Kohl is, right? Huh? Kohl is that black thing that the women wear. Guys can wear it as well. What do you guys call it in the English language?
Mascara.
Mascara. No, that's makeup, Jubed. I don't know what you're talking about. Huh? That mascara for sisters, huh?
Yeah.
But it's similar to mascara, he's right. It's similar to mascara, but this is called Kohl. So Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, huh?
More like eyeliner.
Eyeliner.
That's for women as well, though.
Anyways, we know what the intended purpose is. Whether it's mascara, whether it's eyeliner, that black, no. Eyeliner is they use a pen.
Yeah, the pen.
Pen, they put it here. Huh? It's a pen, right? But anyways, Kohl is above the eye. Huh?
How about brushing? Sorry.
I'll come on to that later.
It's powder, or black powder things. Translate.
على كل حال, if an individual now is receiving substances through his eye, whether it's Kohl, whatever it might be, if that now reaches the throat, with the condition of it reaching the throat, the halq, he begins to taste that over there. واضح? Because it can happen. Speak to people who use Kohl, they say, yeah, sometimes we can feel it in our throats. We can taste it there. واضح, guys? If he tastes it, then that invalidates his fast. This is why the poet, he says, وَكَاكْتِحَالٍ فَامْضِ بِاحْتِيَاطِ. Go through your fast taking the safer option. If you can delay it till after you break your fast, then that's a safer option. واضح, guys? Even though you have some of the contemporary scholars, they say the only thing that breaks from the different drops that a person might receive, okay, the substances that he might take through these madakhil, these entrances, is that which he receives through the nose, because of the hadith that I mentioned. But على أي حال, in the madhab Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, all of these things that he receives, that which he receives through these entrances of the eye and also the ear and also what? The nose, would be an invalidator. طيب, we have the hadith of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. She said, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم اكتحل في رمضان وهو صائم. أخرج ابن ماجه. She said that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he used Kohl while he was fasting in the month of Ramadan. Narrated by Ibn Majah. How'd you bet? Madhab Imam Ahmad rahimahullah going against the evidences?
No.
What do we say about this hadith? I remember I mentioned it last year.
Repeat the hadith again, please.
أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم اكتحل وهو صائم في رمضان. He used Kohl in the month of Ramadan while he was fasting. Narrated by Ibn Majah. أخرج ابن ماجه بإسناد ضعيف. Narrated by Ibn Majah, but the chain of narration is weak. Even Imam At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, لا يصح في هذا الباب شيء. There is no authentic narration in this issue of using Kohl, or the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam having used Kohl. واضح? And this hadith is mentioned in Bulugh al-Maram. Ibn Hajar Asqalani rahimahullah ta'ala, he brought this because there's some of the scholars who say it's okay for one to do so. So he mentioned this to bring up the discussion. طيب. What about التطيب بالبخور? You guys know what bukhur is, right? Huh? What do you call it in English language? Bukhur. You know the scent that you sometimes put in your house and the smoke. Huh? What do you call it? No, not air fresh. No, there's an Arab type of bukhur which you burn. Oud, like oud, yeah. Is it called what? Incense. Naam. Haya. What if an individual now he sniffs that up? Does it break your fast? Based on the qawaid in the madhab Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, if one now has this oud, this incense, this bukhur that gets lighted and burnt in his house, and all of the smell is going through it, sometimes it becomes smoked out. If he intentionally sniffs it up, his fasting is broken. If he intentionally does it. Sometimes you walk past and some smoke goes into your nose. Wadah, guys? Where did this come from? The hadith that I told you guys earlier. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, sniff up the water. Do the istinshaq. Go overboard with it when you are fasting. When you're making wudu, except when you're fasting. So if this individual intentionally sniffs it up, or when you're walking past, an issue that I'm going to mention inshallah ta'ala as well, a place is smoked out with weed. He walks past. Is that going to break his fast? The answer is no. Maybe he sniffs it up. Passive smoking. He does passive smoking in the month of Ramadan intentionally. That's what's going to break it. Wadah, guys? Then the poet he goes on to say, وَهَكَذَا الْإِمْنَاءُ وَالْإِمْذَاءُ بِسَبَبِ اللَّمْسِ كَذَا اسْتِمْنَاءُ. The ejaculation of many, and also the medhi coming out of a person's private part. بِسَبَبِ اللَّمْسِ. Because of him now coming into interaction, touching, fondling with his wife. كَذَا اسْتِمْنَاءُ. And also masturbation. All of these things are from the things that invalidates one's fast. Okay, so inshallah ta'ala, let me stand over each point. In the madhab Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, إِذَا بَاشَرَ دُونَ الْفَرْجِ فَأَمْنَ أَوْ أَمْذَى. If this individual now does something called mubashara with his wife. Mubashara, it varies. Okay, it varies from coming into contact with your wife, fondling with her, okay, touching her, your thighs being between her thighs, all the way up to having sexual intercourse with your wife. The word mubashara is used. طيب. So in the madhab Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, if somebody now does mubashara of every type, and because of him now touching iltiqa'ul basharatain, because of him now touching her, he releases, whether it is medhi or many, in the madhab Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, his fasting has now become invalidated. What is the difference between medhi and many? Inna Allah la yastahi min al-haq. Allah is not shy from the truth. Guys, this is very, very important. If you don't know the difference, it could be either that you're having a shower every time you become aroused, or after releasing, you're making wudu. If you don't know how to differentiate between the fluids that comes out of your private part. Medhi is the fluid that comes out of a man's private part at the beginning of sexual intercourse, at the time of being aroused. Wadih? And many is that which one releases when he's just done. When he's done. He's been having sexual intercourse, it comes out, and he gets tired. This is when the guy goes to sleep. Wadih? Are you with me, guys? That's the difference between the two. In the madhab, both of these issues, it's what? It invalidates one's fast. طيب. I have to mention this because it might cause a bit of controversy in the minds of some, or confusion. The issue of medhi, okay, the reason why some scholars they hold that medhi doesn't, or many of the scholars, if not the overwhelming majority, they say that medhi doesn't break your fast. And the reason why the many would break your fast, those who said that it breaks, okay, your fast when a person masturbates, is because this individual now has not left off his shahwa. We mentioned earlier in the Hadith al-Qudsi, when Allah Azza wa Jalla says, يَدَعُ طَعَامَهُ وَشَرَابَهُ وَشَهْوَتُهُ مِنْ أَجْلِي. He leaves of his food and his drink and also his shahwa for whose sake? For my sake. Has this individual who masturbates left off his shahwa? He's relieved himself, right? طيب, what about the person who's released madi? Has this individual relieved himself? He hasn't. It's a type of fluid that sometimes comes out and you can't even feel it coming out. So based on that, the outweighed, the stronger view in this is that if madi comes out, your fast hasn't become invalidated. But still, the fact that one of the four madhahib holds this view, it's not a light matter. Try to control yourself. طيب, what if an individual has sexual intercourse but nothing comes out? Huh? Huh? Nothing's come out. I told you guys earlier that he leaves over the food and the drink and his shahwa. The guy has sexual intercourse but hasn't relieved himself. Huh? Bil ijma'. It's been unanimously agreed that if an individual he has sexual intercourse, even if he doesn't release, his fasting is broken. Generally speaking, okay, this is in the chapter of ghusl. Whether it comes out or not, إذا جلس بين الشعب الأربع ثم جهد فقد وجب الغسل. متفق عليه. وزاد مسلم وإن لم ينزل. Okay, if he sits between her four parts of the body and he penetrates her, okay, then the ghusl has become wajib, even if he doesn't release anything. Even if he doesn't release anything. So, in this issue, whether he ejaculates or whether he doesn't, in every case, the fast has broken. And we're going to come on to, inshallah ta'ala, later on, okay, what the kafara upon that individual is. And we discussed it last week, bakhairan inshallah. There's another issue that is discussed, and that is with regards to إِذَا كَرَّرَ النَّظَرَ فَأَمْنَ أَوْ أَمْذَ. If an individual, he keeps looking at the opposite gender, and that now causes him to release madi or many. Madi or many. This individual now, he finds his sister walking past him. He's outside, and he's staring the life out of her. Staring the life out of her. He's seeing the love of his life. He's really, really attracted to her. Can't take his eyes off her. And then he ends up releasing. Guys. Okay? A very weak guy though, but he ends up releasing. Okay?
Go to the mechanic.
Go to the The Sheikh said, let him go to the mechanical. طيب. I'm going to ask you guys this question. Haya, he kept on looking at her. And then many came out. He ended up relieving himself like that. He never touched himself, just came out. We already spoke about him using his hands to masturbate. Al-istimna'u bil-yad. In the madhab Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala is going to invalidate his fast, right? Haya tayyib, he's constantly looking. And he causes it now to release. He's not touched himself.
Intention. Intention.
There are three different cases. The first case is a woman walks past him, whether she's halal for him or whether she's not halal for him. We're talking about even his wife, okay? Or a woman that's not halal for him. طيب. He looks at her and then he looks away and then he also releases. He also releases. First look, first glance. طيب, the first scenario is if he looks, the first glance, and then he looks away and he releases, that does not break his fast. Why? A man came to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he was looking at the opposite gender. Or he asked him about the first glance. Nadratul faj'a. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Isrif basarak. Move your eyes away. And we know that the first look is what? Forgiven. Ma'fuwan anhu. And because of that, his fasting is still correct. طيب. Second case is, this individual, he repetitively keeps on looking at the opposite gender, whether she's halal for him or whether she's not halal for him. Huh? This individual's fasting has broken because he done takrar of the nadar, and he's also relieved himself. Okay? He's done that out of choice. It's not because it was a mistake. Wadih, guys? Sometimes an individual in the month of Ramadan, and we get this, guys, he says, I'm going to stay away from masturbating. Masturbating is a sin that wallahi can really, really destroy your heart. Wadih? He says, I'm going to stay away from that in the month of Ramadan. But then what? He starts looking at things he shouldn't be looking at. He watches pornography. Okay? And through that he ends up what? Relieving himself without touching his private part. This is when this issue now comes in handy. It's a contemporary issue, right? Looking at some of these things, watching pornography. His fasting would also become broken.